Alright, so hello everyone, and today we'll be playing as Serbia in Kaiserreich, which is a mod that I have not yet tried on this channel, but which I have played immensely, but not as Serbia, only a little bit, but yeah, we're gonna have to see how this thing goes through. Serbia, I think your main priority at the beginning obviously is focusing against Bulgaria and trying to unite with Romania. With the latest update of Kaiserreich, I'm not entirely sure if this was also present beforehand, but Romania tends to go to a civil war quite often. I've played major events. I've played around with the new edition of Kaiserreich as Germany a little bit, and as that was a very bad research. It's not what I wanted to go for at all. Researching nuclear weapons as Serbia in 1936 isn't a good idea. So how are our military? We do have some civilians, but I do want to build at least one civilian. Do I? Maybe one, and then we'll focus mostly on military factories, because we really need those, and we also need a whole bunch of other things. Let's take a look at our templates that we're running. So just pure infantry here, some artillery there, Konitska Divizia, and yes, just a little bit of artillery, which is going to be yeah, that's going to be obviously brilliant. But let's do it like this. Let's get some steel from Germany, because Germany, the area of Germany in Kaiserreich tends to be incredibly weak. I have no idea why, but Germany just tends to lose basically, and that's not entirely good for us, because we aren't planning to go socialist or syndicalist in this case, and we really don't want the the forces at hand in Europe to fall just because the syndicalists are a little bit too strong in this mod. So you know, that's going to be. Let's actually train the guys that have artillery. I'm also running the non-core to core state mod, because obviously we're gonna run out of manpower incredibly fast as Serbia, you know, because our core provinces are just the historical provinces of Serbia, which is this, a little bit here, I think, yeah, this, and that's basically it. And so Macedonia, Period, I think we have eventually, if we go down the Yugoslavia tree, then we can get you know, all of Bosnia-Herzegovina and Slovenia and Croatia. But we're not gonna go down that tree, because that tree is boring. We're gonna go removing as Greater Serbia, because, you know, if you wanted to play as Yugoslavia, you would just play the base game. Forming Yugoslavia is not actually all that interesting in this game, because you don't get to play Serbia then. You're just playing Yugoslavia, and that's boring. We want to play Serbia, you know, defeated in World War I by Bulgaria seizing all its lands. By the way, does Bulgaria also have? Yeah, Bulgaria also has a unique focus tree, which is something that they didn't get in Death or Dishonor, which is quite unfortunate actually, because it's a very interesting nation, mostly due to the fact that it played a decently large role within World War I. You'd think that they would give Bulgaria at least some sort of focus tree. I think we're gonna focus on industry. Yeah, we're gonna focus on industry, because it does give us some extra military factories, and that's what we're going for sure. Against Bulgaria, and also, let's check if these guys are going for the civil war. I'm not entirely sure which event fires the civil war, but I'm entirely sure that they tend to go to a civil war at least 3 out of 3 times that I've played within the last like week or two. That's happened to me. Romanians just go to a civil war. Not entirely sure what the Bulgarians are going to do. The Bulgarians usually fall, whether they get crushed by the Ottoman Empire, which is kind of interesting actually, or they get completely stomped by the Balkan or the Belgrade Shield or whatever it's called in this mod. Basically the Balkan nations that surround it. Does Greece have a unique focus tree? Not entirely. At least I'm not entirely sure. This doesn't seem like a unique focus tree at all, which is quite a shame. But hey, what can you do? Do the other nations? I haven't really checked the new edition, but no, the Austrian nations don't even have a focus tree either, so that's okay, I guess. I'm not entirely sure if I'll be playing as in the Kaiserreich mod that much, apart from Serbia, or maybe forming Poland, Lithuania. That's something I always wanted to do within Kaiserreich, and I never actually got around to playing as Lithuania ever, because I think it's sort of limiting to play as any of the Middle Europa nations apart from Germany, because you're basically depending on Germany losing against the French, and then you have to fight the French because the French have an insane focus tree that lets them just declare war on basically everyone once they get rolling, and that's it'll get dispersed because I predict we're gonna get bombed to shit. Even though I usually go concentrated, but yeah, so playing as like maybe Ukraine, White Ruthenia, or even the United Baltic Duchy is incredibly interesting, because what your focus is either to get completely annexed by Germany or Russia. Rarely ever do they go with the emancipation tree, and even then it's not actually all that great because it doesn't give you many bonuses. It's sort of disappointing that they always have a civil war, you know, for independence, but if you actually go for like autonomous under the Germans, you're still just you don't actually get that many bonuses as Germany does for just purely annexing you, or Russia. That's also another thing, that you're always going to get influence from the Russians, and you have to fight against that. You have to fight a civil war. So while playing as the puppets of Germany, it's quite interesting. You might as well just play Germany and just control the puppets and annex them later on. Even though, you know, gaining independence is really fun, I think the only real one that's even halfway interesting is Lithuania, and only because they can form the Commonwealth with Poland, and that's actually kind of interesting. One thing that I found playing as Serbia to be a little bit bothersome is the fact that you have to really just camp it out, and you have to grind the opponents down. And if you actually manage to, we don't need this, if you actually manage to, you know, call in Greece and to your alliance, they just get invaded. They just get navally invaded. They don't control their ports. They rarely ever try and actually hold. So just not caring about Greece is probably your best option. But you know, there's an event that and you don't really have much control over. So, so by the way, when is this 1st of May 37? Okay, so we have quite a lot of time left to just sit around and stare at this wall. What kind of planes do we have? We have a fighter, tactical bomber, quite actually good for such a small nation at this stage of the game. And we don't actually have any tanks. No, we don't have any tanks. We don't have any doctrines. So let's go for grand battle plan, because we do want just a solid defensive wall against Austria when the time comes, because we will have to take back, or we will want to take what is now Illyria and some sections of Hungary. I think we do have a claim for some land here. I'm not entirely sure. I think we do actually, yeah. Especially Romania has very good claims against basically. Is it Transylvania? Not entirely sure. I think it is, but yeah, because of the Hungarian names, you can't really tell unless you speak Hungarian, which is very bothersome. Because sometimes when the Austrians actually proclaim dominance over the Hungarians, these names actually flip to their like either German names or like the ethnic names, which is quite interesting to be sure. Let's change to early mobilization, I think, or maybe could we get like war actually we don't have war industrialists in this mod, I forgot. But actually this one's quite good. Industrial company gives you insane bonuses. Yeah, let's go for that. War industry should be that, and yeah, let's just go straight for that research slot because that's gonna be really useful. Yeah, let's get all that steel and tungsten from. Should we get it from the German puppet? No, let's get it from Portugal. Why not? Doesn't. Okay, can't, because we don't have enough civilian factories. We aren't building enough. I guess we might as well just cancel trade because it doesn't really matter right now. I'll just let this thing build fully to the max. Because we aren't actually in a war right now, and we don't even plan on. We are actually producing that much anyway. So we have a lot of time ahead of us. We don't need to waste our factories on anything right now. What I will do is try and make as many of them as possible before starting the war. I mean, we're far away from the war as of right now, but it's going to... Okay, see, first division's nice. One thing that's really bothersome about Serbia is that when you take a look at your generals, you have only one field marshal and he's an old guard. Old guards are good if you plan to suck, but don't plan to be absolutely terrible. So we do actually need some solid field marshals and generals, and that's going to be quite annoying. I don't think even not that. I don't think even yeah, not even Bulgaria has many resources. They do have chromium and aluminium here, but that's not steel. And chromium is really good late game, but right now you don't actually need it that much, especially if you're landlocked. Like aluminium, I think you need for planes. Chromium is mostly used for ships, and well, we're not really gonna produce many planes because we don't have the time or the resources or really the industrial power right now, and we definitely are not going to be producing ships anytime soon. That took a long time to load for some reason. Oh wow, they actually split Belgium, Flanders and Flanders Wallonia. That's actually quite interesting. Maybe the Flemish idea. Okay, so that's the Belgian or the Flanders, yeah, basically Belgian focus tree. One thing that I really wanted to play is actually the Italian Federation, because it seems like you're just between a rock and a hard place. No matter what you do, you're gonna go to war with either the Socialist Republic of Italy or the Commune of France. So you really have to rely on at least some support from Austria. But Austria tends to go Social Democrat, and they tend to stay out of the war for quite a long time if they go Social Democrat. If they actually go Conservative, then you have a chance of somehow them helping you, but they rarely ever do when they place the AI. Even though it's actually quite okay, so there we go. That's the American Civil War firing. Let's see who wins. One thing that's actually really strange is that within Kaiserreich, the syndicalist nations tend to be extremely powerful, and that's I don't think that's I just don't think that'll be very that would be all that. I don't know. It just seems kind of strange. Maybe it's just biased by the developers. Maybe they really like the syndicalist nations. I mean, they certainly are interesting. We go for the... Now we're actually just going to continue the Regency. Just because why not? But yeah, the socialist nations, when you just let the AI play out, they're incredibly powerful, and I don't know why. Maybe I mean, I guess they have insane focus trees, but it's kind of imbalanced. Because when you play against them as a player, you just steamroll over them. Like, the only thing you have to actually do to beat the French is just hold this line here. And did the Netherlands go? No, but the Netherlands also tend to join the communists. So the only thing you have to really do is just hold this line here, and that's it. They just smash their heads against the wall like there's no tomorrow, and then you just kill off the Netherlands. You just focus like Rommel with his panzers around it, and you win. But similar strategy also against Bulgaria. Just sort of defend here and let the Bulgarians waste themselves against your wall or against your troops, and that's basically all there is to it. So anything interesting we could research? Yeah, we could research the industry. Yeah, so the Russians, how did the Russians go? They did actually go with Savinko, National Populist. Huh. Interesting. The Russians also sometimes tend to have the civil war, obviously, with the Soviet Russia popping up, but the Soviet Union, I suppose. But I actually really like how the Kaiserreich team did all the various sort of sub-formats of communism and socialism. It's really interesting because within the base game you basically have democratic, fascist, and communist. That's that's very basic, and obviously it's very streamlined. But I wish there was an option to actually go more in depth, because I really like this. We have obviously the syndicalists, and then a whole bunch of like other subgenres of that or subsects, I suppose. Let's go Congress of Belgrade, and let's finally kickstart off this this little wonderful Balkan experience. I wonder, the Romanians tend to join. They usually join. The Greeks, I'm not entirely sure. I don't actually want to invite the Greeks though, because what the Greeks tend to just completely lose against Bulgaria, or just not do anything at all, and then they just get invaded against, they get invaded by Austria, which is certainly not something that we want to experience. And yeah, so going to just defend. We see the Bulgarians are actually exercising. So there's the Spanish Civil War, which is it's quite good. Another three-way civil war between. One thing that's actually kind of interesting is that the authoritarian Democrats and the paternal autocrats tend to go to a civil war, which you would think that's actually quite a similar line of thought, that they wouldn't actually go to war. Instead, they would join up and fight the communists. But actually, because we don't have Franco here, I guess Franco didn't unite the right, so that's the line of thought behind that, which is quite interesting. The Congress of Belgrade. Open the Congress. Together for peace, together for peace. So we actually don't have an option to kick out support for Bulgaria. This is not good. They don't actually do anything though. Do we send the ultimatum to Bulgaria? Let's actually get the militarized society, national spirit first, and let's get the steel going. Actually, I'm gonna support the Germans either way, because we really don't want the Commune of France getting out of hand. There's no way to support the destruction of them otherwise. I mean, Ottoman Empire announces support for Bulgaria, which is quite interesting. Sometimes they actually join up an anti-Bulgarian league with you, which is quite good when they do that. Let's go with mass combat. That's actually really good. Defense, entrenchment +10. Really, this also gives a recruitable population an attack. Not gonna be building. Actually, we might be building land forts against the Austrians. Never mind. Let's get with these School of Defense guy. We can just always bump up our conscription laws, and also with the non-core to core state mod. I don't think I'm gonna be in that big of a hurry to actually get a lot of manpower. One thing that's actually kind of interesting is that the Ottomans and Germans do announce their support for Romania. They don't actually get any sort of support at all usually. They don't even tend to get any volunteers because the volunteers are usually sent to either Carlist Spain or Kingdom of Spain or obviously the various Americas right now. Romanian Civil War. Brilliant. Oh my god, this is exactly what I was worried was gonna happen. Well, either way, we're just gonna have to support the Romania that we have united with. Yeah. So let's just go kill the fake Romanians. Who do we support? We support no one. We're gonna support the legionaries or the yeah, whatever. And we're gonna go to war with the royalists because the royalists are sort of pansy-like. They don't have a very good focus tree. Well, they do have good focus tree, but they usually aren't as aggressive as the Iron Guard or Romania. Not to mention that they actually have the generic focus tree. So we're just gonna get a call to arms. Yep, and just gonna attack just to help the Romanians actually push back win the Civil War. So let's stop these guys. Can take back this city. So there's not much going on right now. Do we actually send our planes just to support that? We don't actually have many planes at all. Actually, we are supporting them. Wow. Eastern Balkans. How did we lose? I thought we had more. I guess the royalists must be sending their planes then. Well, whatever. It's a good thing we didn't actually go to war with Bulgaria yet then, because that would have been really terrible. That would have been actually really bad. Yeah, let's go for the strong state. Because what are we missing? We're missing fighters. I think that's okay. Whoa, this has slowed down it terribly. Jesus. Okay, let's stop. We're not actually gonna get anything from this, so let's just serve as sort of a defensive force so that the legionaries don't get completely like surrounded or crushed. And when it comes to some sort of counter-attack, let's just defend. I mean, we do have entrenchment anyway, so it doesn't matter. We are focused mostly on defense because as Serbia have no other options other than just static defense against either the Bulgarians or the Austrians or the Hungarians. And so who actually took it? The American Union State. Really? Now, wow, you don't actually see the Union State do that well. Usually the syndicalists completely dominate. But actually now that the Pacific states are at war with the United States, sometimes they actually either just get annexed back or they just join in an alliance. But I guess now that that's out of the picture, the Unions are doing really good. They also have volunteers from the German Empire. These guys, obviously, from the French. And wow, Russia's actually supporting the United States. That's that's very controversial, you know. Russian involvement in U.S. matters. Well. So, are we actually gonna push, or are we just gonna let don't actually want the Romanians to lose too much of their like core manpower, because that obviously then translates into even the legionary Romanians having less manpower overall, which that's not good for us, obviously. So we're pushing slowly but surely. Of course, attacking over a river is never a good idea, guys. But the Romanians seem to be doing fine with that. Don't want to actually waste too much manpower, so let's just slowly but surely creep up into the capitals and the provinces. Actually managed to get a quite now nice surround here. Come on. How many divisions do they have? 21. How many losses did we take? It's one thing about the communicate. Can we actually take anything? 53. We're not actually gonna take anything. Let's just, yeah, let Romania deal with that. Because, you know, they obviously get more from it than we would. Let's shorten this line, obviously, but we actually do have some war experience now, which is quite good. What we can do is just edit this template and add a bunch of stuff to it, and then support equipment. Like that. Yep, strong state. So now we could send the ultimatum to Bulgaria, but let's get some political. Actually, do we want to do that right away? It's 28 days. Let's get Greater Serbia for the political power, so that we can get a few more ministers and stuff. And then let's just then we should just you know, send the ultimatum to Bulgaria, but I think the political power is worth it, you know, just for the extra 70 days. I mean, we should let the Romanians sort of recuperate a bit also, because they took quite a beating in that. I'm quite sure that having your country split in half isn't a very enjoyable experience at all, especially for your manpower. How many divisions do they have? Yes, 17. That's not very good. Orthodoxy is our state religion. Right, so we are authoritarian Democrats. Just quite interesting. Logistics, supply consumption. The authoritarian Democrats never really have that many good politicians or ministers, which is quite a disappointment. Static defense. This is really good. Improved. Okay, so what should we go for? Can we get these guns yet? No. No, we can. I guess it's worth it. Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Aluminium. Yeah, actually I'm thinking if we should just, I think after we defeat Bulgaria, we should just switch all our templates after we obviously get their factories and stuff going. What are we actually using the aluminium for? Production. Oh, this. Okay, that's actually kind of useful then. German. What, the Austrian Empire didn't. The Nubian Federation. Damn. I've never actually seen the AI do this. That's quite interesting. That means that a war against them is going to be insanely difficult, though. Do they actually have it as a core? Yes, they actually have all the Hungarian stuff as a core. Damn it. Usually what tends to happen is the Austrians go to a war against the Hungarians with all their puppets and stuff. And then you can actually easily just, you know, sort of join the war and either help the Hungarians kill the Austrians and then turn on them, or other way around. This is going to be, oh my god, it's going to be difficult. Sometimes the Austrians cede this territory, which sort of shortens the line and helps use the river a little bit more. But this is going to be terrible. Obviously, want to use the this river right in here against the Hungarian, or the Hungarian territory, and then this river right here against the Austrians. But this is going to be quite difficult now. I'm not entirely sure how well we're going to do, but we're going to try regardless. Fighter, 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 no. Infantry, yes. Okay, so we're sending the ultimatum to Bulgaria. Fight me. 1v1 me on Rust, and that's yes, exactly. That's exactly what we're gonna do. Hopefully with the combined forces of, 3 nations, we should be able to kill them. What is this guy? These guys are a puppet of the Ottoman Empire. Ultimatum to Bulgaria. Send the ultimatum. They had their chance. I don't actually think they ever accept the ultimatum, obviously. Let's go for this army reform now. Let's... they actually abandoned their front. Let's just push up a little bit. And, wow, how could we let this happen? It's not like we ever did anything. Wants to help? Yeah, obviously. Did you not join the war? Why didn't you join the war? Okay, let's stop. Let's defend. Obviously we're gonna have quite a lot of, you didn't join the war either. Why the hell did you not join the wars? Like, what is wrong with you? This is brilliant. This is completely uncovered by the Romanians. Why did you want to join the war if you were not prepared for it then? Great. So we're just gonna let the Bulgarians waste themselves against our... Actually, the Greeks are pushing out, so let's also do that. We're gonna encircle these divisions. Not the single division there. I suppose we could just bump it. Yeah. And yeah, the Greeks are overly aggressive. The Romanians aren't doing a damn thing. So yeah, it's a very Balkan experience. Nobody understands each other, or everybody understands each other, but nobody likes each other. The ultimate Balkan experience. They all basically speak the same language, but they absolutely despise each other for some, ambivalent historical reasons. Okay. So the Romanians have a really good border with the Bulgarians. This river here is really good to defend, but obviously the Romanians are completely incapable of defending it, because why would we have capable allies ever? Oh shit, I'm not actually researching. Jesus. Mistakes were made. Okay. That's our army reform. We could actually just conquer the Austrians right now. That's a giant mistake. Let's just get all the bonuses we can beforehand, and let's then build giant fortress line along the border. I'm not entirely sure. These guys never actually go to war with us. If they're a puppet of Albania, sometimes they actually can be a puppet of Austria, and then obviously we're in some deep trouble. But as it is right now, I don't actually think we're in that big of a danger. So we could go for battlefield support, but there's I don't think there's a need to go for air doctrines right now. Let's just get some. Let's just research some tanks right now. So I'm just gonna let the guys. Actually, I thought I would actually manage to encircle them, but we pushed too hard. We're too good. Okay, so the Bulgarians did hold on for a little bit. Now they're completely collapsing, and the Ottoman Empire is also collapsing. Does that mean that because the Ottoman Empire is collapsing, that Albania gets transferred somehow? Well, that's a very weak rebellion. How many troops do they actually have? Oh, actually, quite a bit. Almost as much as regular. It's the regular Ottoman Empire. Why is this tile undefended? Christ. So Romanians are pushing in. We are pushing in again. The tile. Jesus, these front lines. What is wrong with you? But actually got a tasty encirclement there. The AI did, obviously. Because I'm just letting them do their thing. This isn't sort of an important enough war for us to really be bothered about. Obviously, I've had situations. I played as Serbia, I think, in the previous version of this mod. Back in those days, usually the Romanians and the Greeks declined to join your war against the Bulgarians. What tended to happen was that you were alone and you had to defend this small little border with some level 1 or 2 forts, you know, what you could scrape. So it was actually quite a difficult fight. But Jesus, obviously the Romanians are having some difficulties here, I suppose. But usually you should be actually doing fine now. So yeah, I guess the Romanians are just incapable of doing anything right. It's in this mod anyway. Usually Romanians are actually quite a good fighting force in the base game, but here they just aren't doing much. Okay, this offensive is not working out. The Greeks are actually doing quite a good job pushing south. We're actually pushing the center quite formidably, but obviously our wonderful Romanian God damn it, Romania, Jesus. Maybe they're just sort of luring them in, this sort of like an in-depth 4D chess tactic or something like that. I don't know. It's going to be quite interesting to see what they actually make of it. Weapons. Is it just called Weapons 2? Wow. What what a wonderful name. Weapons 2. Some people use the AK-47, some people use the Sturmgewehr. We use a Weapons 2. Did you not know about the famous Weapon 2? Okay, we should collapse. Let's take our core states. Oh, we actually... What? We can't? Why? So I guess let's just... like this. Thessaloniki, that's Greek. We don't really need that. Let's pass. Pass. Okay. Let's slowly eat up all this territory. And bam. This is the Romania claimed by Romania. Okay. So this is exactly how it should look. Not entirely, but you know, you get the idea. And now let's focus on the Austrian border. But this is going to be this is going to actually take a while before we are ready to engage. It is ours now. Divide the Bulgaria into occupation zones. Yeah, definitely. We don't want integrate Macedonia. Yeah, I'm running the non-core states into core states mod. That's why we skipped the integrate focus. But it does give us some fancy manpower right now. If you don't actually run the mod, obviously I've tried it without it. It's incredibly difficult to get anything actually working. Because what tends to happen is that yeah, you just bleed to death, which is yeah, I guess it's realistic, but it's extraordinarily annoying. And obviously, it's gamey and all that to not have the non-core and colony system running, but you know, it's just less fun, and I couldn't be bothered to really. Okay, so now Albania is not a puppet of the Ottoman Empire, because the Ottoman Empire is facing an incredible uprising. 7 to 15 divisions. 27 to 64. I could hardly see how the Ottomans could be having a hard time against such minuscule numbers, but it's none of my business, I suppose. Well, I suppose the Egyptians are actually doing quite a good job. The Axis. Very interesting. So I think this is where I'm gonna leave it off for right now. Anyway, managed to defeat Bulgaria, and for the next episode we're actually going to start to build up our defenses against the Danubian Federation. I almost don't want to kill the Danubian Federation because they're gonna help the Germans against the French, but we could just always do a campaign as the Austrians or as the Danubian Federation. So that's actually gonna be quite a lot of fun. So thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.